they used to joke that you could get a couple dozen people in the same room here and decide if something was going to work or not, or raise all the money for a project, or basically determine whether you were going to launch a hospital or a new school project or a community initiative or whatever it was you wanted to do. That was a fairly concentrated number of people and a limited number of families, and the so-called Lookout Mountain structure, power structure, or a handful of people were very influential. That was probably overstated, but there was a sense in which Chattanooga was a big small town in the past. As you grow and as we move into an economy where innovation is more key and that startups and people from all walks of life come to the city, and at a time when most of our properties have been now purchased by out-of-town investors, it's much more of a cosmopolitan city. It's much different in terms of local ownership versus corporate ownership, and different between the number of people who've lived here all their life and those that maybe come here from other places, and the number of people that are trying different kinds of fields of interest, and the diversity is much greater. So that changes the character of the community, and it isn't as easy sometimes to organize, to galvanize support around a few ideas. It gives new opportunities for new idea thinking, but it's much less of a closed environment and much more open and freewheeling and much more challenging. And as you spread out geographically, there's competing forces among different governments, among different types of industries. I think Chattanooga is unique in that we do have a culture, though, that seems to have valued that collaborative process. And people here, even when they're competitors, are oftentimes rooting for their success within the community. We still want Chattanooga to succeed, even if it means one of our competitors is doing better than us. So it's still enough of a community and a small town that there's, for many people at least, a sense they want Chattanooga to succeed. They want to have a place where their children can grow up, where they can stay here and thrive and succeed, as opposed to some communities maybe where there would be more divisiveness. When we see the culture that exists in the political sphere in Washington, at this point where people seemingly are so divided and so alienated and can't come together over some points, where you're either on this side or that side. I think Chattanooga's been blessed not to have so much of that attitude that, we, even with different competing visions, that people can still talk and try to come together. But it's harder than it once was because the sphere of influence is much broader and wider and deeper.